Now I have the privilege to introduce you Dr. Margaret Hamburg. We don't have the time to go through her CV because it's out of the scope today. Will take quite a lot. It's an impressive one. But I cannot refrain to single out two major achievements, a major success, a major teaching, I would say. Her commitment in regulatory science, her belief in regulatory science are making the difference in the regulatory world. And her commitment to really to make all of us understand that is a global problem, is a global issue, is a global challenge. And she was really able to bring the world together. And I hope that will keep going. On a negative note, and a personal one, she, by her example, personality, and vision, is personally responsible of my motivation to join the regulatory world in 2011. Take your responsibility. Please.
Well, thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here and a privilege to have been introduced by my friend and colleague, Dr. Guido Rossi. I really am honored to be part of this anniversary conference celebrating 20 extraordinary years of achievement by the European Medicines Agency. And it's, of course, wonderful to be here with so many friends and colleagues. Since its establishment, the EMA has been a global leader in the regulation of human and veterinary medicines. Its vision, commitment to science, and efforts to improve and strengthen the processes by which medicines are evaluated and approved have driven regulatory excellence for the benefit of consumers here in Europe, but truly around the world. It's been a great pleasure to work with colleagues at EMA in support of a mission that is near and dear to me as the Commissioner of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, and that is, of course, science-based regulation to promote and protect the health of the public, and to ensure that the best scientific expertise and evidence is mobilized as we strive to facilitate and advance biomedical product innovation that will make a difference in the lives of people. FDA's cooperation and partnership with EMA has been a priority since my very earliest days as commissioner. And we were talking this morning about how my very first international trip as commissioner, which happened just a little over a month into my tenure, was in fact to Europe. And of course, the EMA was an important stop in that visit. And so this is sort of a nice bookend as I'm actually going to be soon transitioning from the FDA. But our discussions then and continuing to this day have really reinforced the importance of regulatory authorities engaging across borders. They've helped strengthen our individual institutions, our collaborative work, and by extension, the broader global community. As President Bill Clinton recently stated, we live in an interdependent world where social and economic problems soon collide, and therefore, networks of cooperation will be the dominant mode of success in the 21st century. And this most surely is true for our world as medical product regulatory authorities as well. And since I'm in London, I thought I should quote Winston Churchill as well, and he certainly understood the critical importance of global alliances. And he said, "There's only one thing worse than fighting with allies, and that is fighting without them." And I know that Churchill was, of course, referring to a very different kind of conflict, but I believe that the principle he was talking about holds true for the battle that we're engaged in for public health and for the people that we serve. And it certainly is relevant to the FDA's long and successful alliance with the EMA. As scientists, regulators, and in fact advocates for public health, improved medical care, and for patients, our jobs have always been challenging, but today even more so. We live in an era where science and technology is advancing at breakneck speed, and the new global reality is one of dramatic shifts in the development, production, and regulation of medical products, along with the increasingly complex supply chains that these products follow to reach our homes and hospitals. Globalization has multiplied the scale of our responsibility and heightened the need for us to work together to ensure safety, efficacy, and quality of the medical products that we oversee, and to promote the needed research and innovation in medical science. Responding effectively to these challenges requires creating and strengthening partnerships across the globe to build capacity, improve ways of communicating and sharing data, to harmonize standards and approaches, to leverage resources to maximize impact, and to engage with industry and international organizations and all of our many stakeholders. And of course, we must work collectively to ensure that the best possible science underpins every facet of our work. With its 20-year record of accomplishment and cooperation, EMA has been at the center of so many of these important efforts. By establishing a truly European system for assessing new medicines and becoming an important, accountable, and reliable global partner with other regulators and nations, EMA is making a difference every day in the critical effort to ensure that people can get the medical products that they need and expect. And first, let me say that I do not underestimate in any way what it has taken over these last 20 years to bring together the diverse nations of the European Union, each with its different histories, culture, institutions, and sovereign laws, into a unified organization that serves the EU in a comprehensive manner. In a way, it's a model for the rest of us as we seek to come together as a broader coalition of regulators working together around the world. And as EMA knows, such undertakings must always be a dynamic, evolving process shaped by a series of unfolding needs, experiences, and aspirations. We must listen to each other, we must learn from each other, and we must find ways to align our actions and concerns. And on a more parochial level, it's been so gratifying to see how the FDA-EMA relationship has deepened and evolved. 6 years ago, when I came into this job, I was told of the importance of the ties that bound our organizations. But it's striking how much our partnership has grown. From interactions primarily through the International Conference on Harmonization to one that now includes extensive information sharing, numerous standing cluster meetings to jointly address scientific and regulatory issues, placement of dedicated liaison officers at our respective facilities, and frequent consultation as we face common regulatory policy and strategic challenges. We've worked together to improve the transparency of clinical trials data, expand patient participation in the drug development process, identify innovative pathways for accelerated drug development and approval, and create initiatives to ensure that the public has access to quality pharmaceuticals. Last year, for instance, the FDA and EMA launched a joint initiative to share information on inspections of bioequivalence studies submitted in support of generic drug approvals and provide a mechanism to conduct joint facility inspections for generic drug applications submitted to both agencies. By enhancing our ability to leverage inspection resources, we're better able to meet the challenges of increased globalization in drug development and manufacturing while streamlining the inspection process. The result can be greater efficiency for each of our organizations and for industry. Most importantly, it means broader assurance of safe, effective, and high-quality generic drugs for consumers. More recently, EMA is our partner in a mutual reliance initiative, a strategic collaboration to allow FDA and the European Union to better rely on each other's GMP inspections of human pharmaceutical facilities. These are the kinds of models for collaboration that can have widening circles of impact and benefits for all. Similarly, many of you have heard me talk about the importance of regulatory science. And as Guido commented, it's been a driving theme of my tenure as FDA Commissioner. And by regulatory science, I mean the knowledge and tools needed to assess and evaluate a product's safety, efficacy, quality, and performance, and define the strategies and approaches and models needed for the most efficient development of new products and their timely availability for patients. And this, I think, is such an important area, a gap in our broader scientific and medical research enterprise, and certainly underappreciated and under-resourced in my country, the United States, and in so many other domains. And I think that the time is now to come together as a community of regulators and scientists to advance this field, to find new ways to define research needs, to work collaboratively, build knowledge, and take action, all in the service of harnessing science to improve and protect health. And I think that there are terrific examples from our collaborations with EMA. After all, so many of our questions are the same. We must come together to complement each other's work, to reinforce and extend each other's work, rather than to duplicate or work in isolation. And let me just mention a few important examples. Areas that illustrate the value of this approach, I think, are extremely well illuminated by pediatric therapeutic development, as well as increasingly in the area of rare diseases. When there are limited populations with a given disease to study, it's imperative that we engage in global regulatory collaboration and harmonization of medical product development efforts. This is vital for the patients in question, who deserve our respect and our care, as well as the most efficient pathway in pursuit of therapies to treat their conditions. A different kind of example comes from the field of predictive toxicology, very important to efficient, meaningful product development. And this is an area where our combined efforts, EMA and FDA, to characterize novel biomarkers that identify drug-induced kidney toxicity in preclinical animal models have led to several of these biomarkers being qualified for regulatory use. I think such targeted problem-solving research and analytic approaches enable us to deliver better, safer therapies to patients while promoting time and cost reductions. And beyond the development of new regulatory science tools, it offers a very valuable model of collaboration that we can build on. Continuing on this theme, EMA has also been a welcome partner in responding more broadly to unexpected public health challenges that may emerge. More and more, our interconnected world offers reminders, powerful reminders, of the global nature of disease and the importance of international alliances. Though unheralded, regulators play a unique and essential role in public health crisis preparedness and response, helping to speed the development and availability of new products to diagnose, treat, or prevent these diseases, but also in assuring a level of scientific rigor and a systematic approach that leads to meaningful and lasting betterment of public health. During the recent tragic Ebola outbreak, EMA and FDA have worked closely together and with other international regulatory counterparts, including WHO. And many more challenges loom, from recognized concerns like pandemic disease, antimicrobial resistance, or MERS, to the ever-present threat of the unknown. Consider also the very real and present danger of substandard, adulterated, and falsified medical products that can cause illness or death from toxicity, inadequate treatment, or drug resistance. Moreover, falsified and poor quality medicines erode the public's trust in medical interventions and threaten decades' worth of progress in combating infectious diseases such as HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria, and jeopardize our ability to prevent and treat non-communicable diseases, the burden of which continues to rise in all our nations. Such medicines pose a global threat, but they are felt most acutely in countries with high rates of preventable, treatable diseases and underdeveloped regulatory systems. As regulators, we have a shared responsibility to address this concern in an aggressive, comprehensive, and sustained manner. Again, It is in all of our best interests, and EMA has recognized this and has provided much-needed leadership, advocacy, and innovative new approaches to detect problems, to reduce risks, and to create a stronger global safety net. This is so important because a global quality system with appropriate coordination and oversight throughout the development and distribution of pharmaceutical products benefits public health within and beyond our individual borders, supports economic development and stability in countries around the world, and strengthens national and international security. Across so many issues, medicines regulators cannot act alone. Rather, we must continue to build partnerships at the international level to increase our reach. Regulator-to-regulator partnerships, of course, remain important, but we've also got to work to strengthen and expand multilateral efforts, importantly including the International Coalition of Medicines Regulatory Authorities, or an organization that we fondly call ICMRA. As a new forum for senior regulatory leaders across the world, ICMRA offers a unique and vital mechanism to convene around issues of strategic interest, to establish more effective channels of information sharing and communication, and a new framework for leadership, governance, and for action. Such ongoing efforts help us move from the outdated paradigm in which individual regulatory agencies act in isolation, focusing solely on their own jurisdiction, to the modern model of a globally focused regulatory enterprise that works closely and collaboratively with other agencies around the world. Indeed, continuing globalization, along with the changing healthcare environment and new progress in science, will demand this shift in paradigm. We must work together and with all of our stakeholders to encourage the kinds of meaningful innovation that can better realize the extraordinary potential we have to transform the prevention, diagnosis, and treatment of disease and make an enduring difference in the lives of patients and for public health. This is incumbent on us as regulators. And I think it's why all of us are here today, whatever perspective or organization that you represent. For 20 years, EMA has been an important leader in this effort to bring regulatory authorities together across borders, to engage with stakeholders in a collaborative way, and importantly, to put patients as the focus of our work and what needs to be done. EMA is certainly not resting on its laurels, but continuing to look forward and develop new approaches to ensure that patients are, in fact, at the center of future innovation. And I want to now close on a more personal note, because, as I mentioned, I will soon be stepping down as the Commissioner of the US FDA. And while this was not an easy decision for me, because I remain so dedicated to the vital work and mission of this agency, and there's always more work to be done, I'm confident that I leave behind at the FDA a stronger, more engaged, and more effective organization, and better positioned for the challenges of today and of the future. The work that we've done with EMA and our other international colleagues has been particularly at the center of our work in the last 6 years that I've served as commissioner, and certainly has been enormously rewarding for me on a personal level. I'm so grateful to have been part of this extraordinary community. Together, I think that we have made valuable progress at a truly critical moment in time. So I will certainly miss the work. I'll certainly miss all of you. But I'm delighted to be here as part of this wonderful birthday party on the 20th anniversary of EMA. I really want to salute this organization for all of its excellent work and many contributions, and celebrate the numerous accomplishments that I know are to come as you work as an organization, as you work in partnership with the FDA, and as you work with so many of the other agencies and organizations around the globe who are engaged on these important issues, who look to the EMA for leadership. And I know that through this work, the world will be a better, safer place. Thank you so much.